Okay, today we're doing something a bit different. We're not just looking into the shadows. We're really examining what seems to be looking back.
Exactly. We're diving into some genuinely unsettling, true accounts.
These are stories dealing with the paranormal, ghosts, even disturbing sort of glitches in reality. And they come directly from listeners, people who follow our source channel, Horror Docx.
And these aren't just, vague feelings. These are detailed firsthand experiences. People reporting things with real conviction, specific details, often involving intense psychological stress.
Things that really challenge logic.
Definitely. It goes way beyond just bumps in the night. We're talking about things with repeatable patterns, sometimes even physical evidence.
So our mission today is to unpack some of these narratives, see if we can find any common threads, any patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And we're starting where people often feel quite exposed, actually, the lonely workplace, especially late at night. Right, so our first one is set in a large community activity center. And get this, it's right near a cemetery.
Classic setup.
Yeah. The person telling the story was on the cleaning crew, working really late shifts, like 1:0 a.m. to 4 a.m. Just imagine that. Big, dark building.
Sets an unnerving scene right away. And what's interesting here is how it seems to move from just a general creepy feeling to something, well, more specific.
Exactly. They reported this constant sense of unease, especially near the men's locker room entrance.
A threshold, yeah, common focal point.
And then actual noises. Hearing lockers slamming shut in a women's room, heavy footsteps like someone sprinting down the hall. All when the place was meant to be totally empty.
Okay, so that sounds like, standard stuff initially, maybe residual energy, maybe poltergeist activity, fairly common reports.
But then it shifts dramatically.
Yeah.
The narrator gets frustrated, maybe a little bold, and actually speaks out loud, asks for a sign, a really specific one.
Oh, what did they ask for?
They said, open 7 lockers in the north side of the men's room. They walked away, and almost immediately, boom, 7 lockers, right in a row, swing open.
Wow. Okay, that changes everything. That's not just energy repeating itself.
No.
That's responsive. That's intelligent interaction. And what happened after that? Did it escalate?
Well, yes and no. The narrator then sort of negotiated, asked the entity for space so they could finish their work. And apparently the presence seemed to respect that, kept its distance, stayed in the distance, as they put it.
But the feeling didn't entirely go away, I bet?
Not at all. In fact, the psychological effects seemed to ramp up. The narrator started getting physical symptoms, pressure on the head, migraines, tinnitus, that ringing in the ears, and nausea, especially near the gym area.
That fits a pattern. We often see intense psychological or even physical pressure preceding more overt physical events. It's like the entity is building energy or presence. And did anyone else experience things?
Yes. A coworker felt a hand run along the metal bars in the handicap stall.
No.
Heard footsteps too. But the real kicker, the corroboration.
Go on.
There was this one cabinet door that just kept opening on its own, so they zip-tied it shut.
Sensible.
Didn't matter. It slammed open anyway, hard enough to hit the narrator's knee.
Oh, okay, maybe a coincidence, right?
Maybe. But later, their fiancé, who was a total skeptic about all this stuff, was there. And the exact same zip-tied cabinet door flew open and slammed shut on his knee.
Okay, that's significant. Repeatable, physical, observed by a skeptic. That's strong evidence.
Injuring someone too.
Yeah, the ability to manipulate objects with that kind of force and injure someone points to considerable kinetic energy. And focus. This wasn't just random.
So if that place was unnerving, the next spot, a smaller USDA building, the narrator described it as much worse. Said it caused immediate anxiety attacks just being there.
Just walking in.
Apparently. Started subtly again. Feeling watched, tension in the air, and then like the feeling of fingers lightly touching their back or neck.
Ugh. Tactile sensations are always deeply unsettling.
It escalated pretty fast from there. Darting shadows in the peripheral vision gone the second you look directly.
Classic shadow phenomena.
And here's a really weird detail. The narrator took a photo of one of the rooms just on their phone, sent it to a friend who's really into supernatural research. The friend's reaction was extreme. They basically said, don't ever send me a picture of that place again or I'll block you. Threatened to block them.
Wow. So the negative energy, or whatever it was potent enough to be felt even through a digital photo. That's intense. Suggests a very aggressive environmental presence.
It culminated one terrifying night. They saw this huge dark shape, like a giant trash bag, blocking the path to a supply closet. No apparent source for a shadow that large or dense. Then the closet door itself felt like it was being forced shut against them. And then Even with loud music blasting in their headphones, they felt hot breath on the back of their neck.
Whoa.
And heard a really distinct rattlesnake rattle sound right by their ear. Checked everywhere, obviously. No snake.
Multisensory assault, visual, tactile, auditory. That's designed to terrify.
But this is where it gets into that glitch in reality territory we mentioned. Near some glass doors, they saw their reflection. But it wasn't quite right. It was like another version of them, moving maybe half a second slower and several feet further behind where they actually were. And they could hear faint footsteps matching the reflection's lag.
A slight temporal displacement, or a doppelganger effect. That's bizarre.
And it didn't stop there. Later, a sink with a turn handle faucet, not a sensor one, turned itself on full blast. And the mirror above it looked like someone had smeared soap across it, almost like claw marks made of soap.
So you have classic haunting phenomena mixed with these strange reality fractures and identity blurring. That's a really unusual combination.
Let's move to our third workplace story. This one's a retail store, edge of a canyon in Twin Falls, Idaho. Closing time, late, near Christmas.
Okay.
The manager, Jess, was known for elaborate pranks. So the narrator's already kind of on edge, maybe expecting something. They had a bad feeling, double-checked the store was empty before locking up with the cashier, Kim.
Always trust that gut feeling.
So they're in the back office doing paperwork. They'd shut off the store's Christmas music. Suddenly it blasts back on. Jingle bells, apparently.
Annoying, but maybe explainable. Glitch. Timer.
Maybe. They go turn it off again, go back to the office.
Yeah.
Then their walkie-talkie crackles. Static? Then a crystal clear voice cuts through. Can you hear me, please? Is anyone there?
Chilling. And they thought it was Jess.
Initially, yeah. Thought it was a really elaborate delayed prank. But they checked the charging station. Only 2 walkies were off it. Theirs and Kim's, who was still up front.
So just couldn't be using one.
Right. And they looked outside, fresh snow, no footprints anywhere near the building. Just wasn't outside messing with them.
Okay, prank theory out. What then?
They glanced at the security camera monitor. And they see Kim, the cashier, just frozen solid, staring towards the front corner of the store.
Oh, no.
Then Kim just bolts, sprints back towards the office, absolutely terrified. She bursts in, saying she saw a man standing there, described him vividly. Big black overcoat and a top hat.
A man in black type figure. In the store.
Inside the locked store. Then as they're huddling in the office, they hear heavy footsteps right outside the office door. But the layout meant you had to pass cameras to get there. Nothing was on the monitors.
Impossible footsteps.
They decided to make a run for it. Went to arm the alarm system, but it failed. Kept giving errors. First, motion error section 5. They try again. Error, motion error section 4.
Wait, 5 then 4. That's sequential. That implies motion was detected moving from the back section towards the front.
Exactly. Like whatever Kim saw was now moving through the store after them.
Yeah.
The narrator, incredibly, had to go back in alone later to override the faulty system.
That takes guts.
But here's the absolute mind bender. They checked the security footage later. At 3:10 a.m., hours after they left. The main front doors, locked and armed, are seen swinging wide open, effortlessly, and you can actually see the physical locks just drop off the frame onto the floor.
It forced its way out of a locked, armed building.
Apparently. And Kim, the cashier.
What happened to her?
She never came back to work, never picked up her final paycheck, just vanished, completely disappeared.
Whatever she saw, whatever happened that night, it was enough to make her abandon her entire life. That's terrifying. The entity didn't just make noises. It manipulated complex systems, manifested, was seen, and had a profound, lasting impact on a witness. Okay, so we've seen intelligence, physical interaction, manipulation of electronics. Now let's shift focus slightly. These next accounts push the boundaries even further, into territory where identity itself, and maybe even time, seem to fragment.
Yeah, this is where it gets really strange. Like, reality itself feels unreliable.
Exactly. We're moving beyond traditional hauntings into what some might call, I don't know, temporal echoes, or maybe parallel reality bleed-throughs.
The first one is just baffling, the Norwegian doppelganger story.
Yeah.
It involves the narrator's great-grandmother.
Okay.
She traveled to Norway for a whole month. When she finally got back home, her neighbors were confused. They insisted she'd already been back for several weeks.
They thought she came back early.
Not just thought it, they swore it. And the details are key here. It wasn't just a fleeting glimpse.
Right.
They said they saw her shoes by the door every day, heard her footsteps inside. They claimed they watched her doing chores, cleaning, cooking, even sweeping the front porch. For weeks.
Well, she was verifiably across the ocean.
100% certain she was in Norway the entire time.
That's not just a ghost. The consistency, the mundane actions, it's like a perfect energetic imprint or a temporal echo of her daily routine just kept playing out thousands of miles away. Tellingly bizarre.
And then there's the coffee shop glitch. This feels like a momentary snap, like reality corrected itself.
Tell me about it.
The narrator gets to work super early, like 4:05 a.m. It's an old hotel that was converted into a coffee shop. When they arrive, the lights are all on inside. Loud Christmas music is playing.
Before opening hours.
Way before opening. And they can clearly hear two men's voices inside talking, laughing, clanging dishes around, even running the sink sprayer. Full-on activity.
Okay, so someone's in there early, maybe other staff.
That's what they thought. They knocked. Called the manager's phone. No answer from inside or the phone. They're getting annoyed, waiting outside this locked door, hearing all this noise. Then the actual manager drives up.
Ah, the key holder arrives.
Exactly. And the instant the manager walks up to the door with his key, everything stops. The shop goes pitch black. Utterly silent. Completely empty.
Instantly.
Like flipping a switch.
Yeah.
The lights, the music, the voices, the clanging, all gone in the blink of an eye the moment the manager arrived.
It wasn't just quiet. It was like that entire scene, that pocket of activity just ceased to exist. Popped like a bubble.
Yeah.
That really does suggest maybe they were observing, I don't know, a different time slice, a very recent past playing out that got overwritten by the real present moment when the key arrived.
Fascinating. We see a similar kind of identity disconnect in another story.
Which one is that?
The mother, who seemed to travel hundreds of miles in minutes. An aunt living in Arizona hadn't called her own mother back in New Mexico for several weeks. Felt guilty about it.
Then, one day at work in Arizona, a coworker comes up to the aunt and says, basically, hey, your mom was just here in the building looking for you. She seemed really worried. The coworker even recognized the mother from a photo on the aunt's desk.
Wait, the mother was in Arizona looking for her?
That's what the coworker swore. But the aunt knew her mom was elderly, lived hundreds of miles away in New Mexico, and hadn't mentioned any trip. So the aunt immediately calls her mom's number in New Mexico. Her mother answers instantly, sounding relieved, says, oh, I'm so glad you called. I've been so worried. But she was clearly at home in New Mexico, hadn't left the house.
So her worried energy, her projection of concern, somehow manifested physically hundreds of miles away. Enough for a coworker to interact with her.
It seems like it. Sort of crisis apparition, perhaps, but generated by worry rather than death or danger. Her concerned self was briefly, tangibly present elsewhere.
Which leads to this final set of strange encounters in this section. The narrator, who kept getting mistaken for, well, a helper.
Right. These are encounters where other people insist the narrator did something significant, something life-altering, but the narrator has absolutely no memory of it. Zero connection.
Two separate incidents, totally unrelated people. First, a woman approaches the narrator in the thrift store, very emotional, swears that the narrator spent hours with her in a festival parking lot weeks earlier, talking her out of drinking and driving. Saved her life, possibly.
And the narrator
had no idea what she was talking about, was adamant they weren't there, hadn't done that.
Okay, one instance, maybe mistaken identity.
But then it happened again. A man, a cancer patient, approached the narrator, said he recognized them, claimed the narrator sat and talked with him all night long in a church parking lot right after he received his devastating diagnosis, gave him comfort, hope.
And again, the narrator.
Complete denial, absolutely certain they were not that person, did not have that conversation.
So, twice, people attribute these incredibly significant, empathetic, life-saving interventions to the narrator, who has no recollection. It's like maybe a parallel version of them, a doppelganger, but a helpful, heroic one, is bleeding through into our reality and performing these acts.
It's a wild thought. You're double running around, being a better person than you are, maybe.
Or just occupying a different point in space-time where those interactions occurred. It really fractures the sense of a single, continuous self.
Okay, so we've been to haunted workplaces, we've looked at fractured realities. Now let's bring it home. Sometimes the most terrifying things happen in the place you're supposed to feel safest.
Absolutely. And the first one takes us to the UK, Darwin, an evil terraced house, as the narrator called it.
Sounds ominous already. They moved in, narrator and their mother, into this rundown, kind of moldy rental place. And right from the first night, that feeling, being watched.
That immediate sense of presence is common, like walking into occupied territory.
It escalated quickly from just feelings. One night, the narrator wakes up, sees a dark figure leaving their bedroom and going downstairs.
Okay.
They get up, check downstairs, and find both parents fast asleep in their own beds. So whoever or whatever they saw wasn't human, or at least not one of the residents.
An intelligent mobile entity then, not just a feeling. Did other things happen?
Oh yeah. Classic escalation signs. Hearing things move around when no one was there, taps turning on by themselves, lights flicking on and off, standard poltergeist type stuff, but unsettling in your own home.
Definitely. But was there a moment that really confirmed it wasn't just imagination or faulty wiring?
There was. Moving day, when they were finally getting out of there, they had male relatives helping them move furniture.
Right.
These guys, grown men, suddenly refused to go back inside the house. Flat out refused.
Why? What happened?
One of them claimed he was physically pushed hard down the stairs, and both heard a distinct, angry male voice yell at them to get out.
Whoa! Physical assault and a direct verbal command. That's aggressive.
Totally. And it wasn't just one person hearing it. Later, they found out the history of the house. Back in the 80s, it had been used by addicts, and apparently several people had died there from overdoses.
Ah, okay. That provides a potential anchor. Traumatic deaths can certainly leave behind residual energy or even earthbound spirits, sometimes quite negative or territorial ones. The anger, the push, the command to get out fits with a disturbed, possessive entity.
Now, let's shift to another home haunting, but with a different flavor. This narrator rebuilt her house on the exact same spot where the old family home had burned down.
Rebuilding on the same footprint. Interesting choice.
She mentioned having lifelong insomnia, but after moving into the new house, the nightly disturbances became much more specific and creepier.
How so?
Started with quiet shuffling sounds outside, then movement in the gravel right outside her bedroom window. But the thing that really got under her skin,
Yes.
fingernails, lightly scraping against the mesh window screen.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
So intimate, so deliberate, like something trying to get in.
Exactly. It culminated in what sounds like a classic sleep paralysis episode, but again, with some physical hints. She woke up, couldn't move. The room felt intensely warm, almost hot, and there was a faint smell, like something burning.
Temperature changes and phantom smells are often reported.
And she saw it. A blurry, dark figure, the same one she'd seen in a terrifying dream earlier, standing near her bed. And it was slowly creeping closer.
Nightmare fuel. But sleep paralysis can involve hallucinations.
True, but here's the evidence piece. Later, completely awake, she took a photo of that same window where she'd heard the scraping. And in the photo, there's dark shape. It looks like a torso, pressed right up against the outside of the window screen.
She caught something on camera.
Seems like it. It validated her feeling that something was genuinely there, right outside her window, interacting with the house. It gives physical weight to that terrifying subjective experience.
So that's a powerful piece of evidence. It bridges the gap between the internal experience of terror and an external verifiable anomaly.
Okay, our final home haunting story involves a polyamorous couple, and the activity here seems almost personally targeted, maliciously precise.
Interesting. How did it manifest?
Well, the husband apparently tried to rationalize things away at first, but it started with hangers moving by themselves in the closet, plastic bags rustling loudly with no draft, minor stuff maybe.
Could be dismissed, yeah.
But then it got specific. The narrator makes clay sculptures. The entity, whatever it was, repeatedly cut them, made precise, deliberate cuts, ruined a torso sculpture, then cut the thigh of another piece.
Targeting her creations. That feels personal.
Exactly. And then, a skirt she'd bought from a thrift store, she found a perfect little cut right in the waistband. Again, precise, deliberate damage.
It's moving beyond random phenomena into what feels like targeted harassment or symbolic attacks. What else?
The shower curtain rod fell down repeatedly. And one night, the narrator was spooning their girlfriend, asleep, and woke up feeling a heavy hand pressing down firmly on their shoulder.
Definitely not the girlfriend's hand.
Definitely not. Confirmed the presence was external, physical, and interacting directly with them.
That's a clear escalation physical test.
Saying the final incident is the one that just defies any rational explanation. The husband woke up one morning, went to the dresser, and the entire top surface was soaked. Water was literally pouring out of a PlayStation 4 console sitting there.
Pouring out of a PS4? How is that even possible?
That's what they couldn't figure out. They checked everything. No cups nearby, no spills, no leaks from the ceiling. They were on a cement floor anyway. The carpet all around the dresser was bone dry.
So a large volume of water spontaneously manifesting inside and pouring out of an electronic device with absolutely no logical source.
Exactly. No way in, no way it should be there.
That points towards something really powerful, apportation maybe, or extreme hydrokinesis, a major poltergeist culmination demonstrating control over physical elements in a way that just breaks physics. That's deeply unsettling. Hashtag tag outro.
So looking back across all these accounts, these narratives from the Horror Docs listeners, a few patterns really jump out, don't they? They really do. What stands out most to you?
Well, first, there's that almost constant precursor of psychological or physical pressure, that anxiety, the nausea, the feeling of being watched, the head pressure. It seems to consistently precede the more tangible events.
Like a warning sign, or maybe the entity gathering energy?
Could be either. Second, the undeniable evidence of intelligent interaction in many cases. Opening specific lockers on command, speaking clear sentences through a walkie-talkie, targeting specific objects like the sculptures. This isn't random, it's cognitive.
It suggests something thinking, reacting, maybe even planning.
Precisely, and capable of advanced manipulation, whether it's electronics, physical objects, or even the environment itself, like that water manifestation.
And the third thing, which is maybe the most disturbing for me, is that whole category of doppelgangers and temporal glitches.
Right, that terrifying suggestion that maybe identity isn't fixed, that maybe timelines can overlap or bleed into each other, seeing another version of yourself, people swearing you were somewhere you weren't.
It makes you question the very fabric of reality
Right.
and your own place in it. It's profoundly unsettling.
It really is.
Which actually brings us to this final thought, something mentioned in one of the submissions that really stuck with me. It's this idea of a pre-written script.
Oh, tell me more.
This person's father apparently had this incredibly intense deja vu experience once. He said he knew, absolutely knew, the exact conversation he was about to have, word for word, like he'd lived it before.
Wow.
But instead of just letting it play out, he deliberately chose to say something completely different, just to break the pattern, to go off script.
He consciously broke the loop.
Exactly. So the thought is, if these paranormal events, these hauntings, these glitches, if they are disruptions in the normal flow, does that imply that most of the time we're following some kind of predetermined path, a script, until something or someone, paranormal or otherwise, throws a wrench in the works?
That is a seriously chilling thought to end on. Are we just actors reading lines until the stage directions glitch out?
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Something for you, our listeners, to definitely mull over. Well, that brings us to the end of this particular deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us on this, frankly, quite unsettling journey through these unexplained accounts, all sourced directly from the followers of the Horror Docs channel.
It's been fascinating, if chilling.
If you appreciate hearing these chilling details and exploring these real-life experiences, please do remember to show your support. It means a lot. Okay, but gotta go. Come get it. Horror Docs. Thank you for listening. And until next time, maybe keep a light on.